1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. Hello guys, Ben here, and welcome back to our Evolution of a Village series, where we're taking a standard Minecraft village and turning it into something bigger and better than itself through various easy steps. Now, we're taking a Minecraft village, and episode by episode we're adding in things that a village needs. Slowly but surely we are turning it from your standard Minecraft village into something that is more of an actual town. And today, in this episode, what we're going to be doing, and last episode we built this merchant's house right here. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing something that would probably be done very quickly after, after that, as wealth started to happen in the town and stuff, is the Jarl, or the leader. We're having him be a Jarl because why the hell not, right? Let's get rid of any saplings. I don't know why. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be adding some fortifications to this hill, and part of that means we're going to have to kill some of these trees. Okay. I'm not sure how many, but we need to kill a fair amount. Let's go ahead and just kill this one, I guess. Should be more than up there. There we go. And one of the big reasons why we're doing this is because he would probably demand some form of fortifications, because this is insanely easy to attack. So probably one of the first things that would happen is there'd probably be a gate of some sort added. Probably hewn from the same kind of logs too. Huh. And that's something. Okay, and then what are we gonna do? Well, it's going to have to, the crossbar is going to have to be here. Let's put it 3 high. We'll add that there. There we go. Now let's add a little bit of some, we'll call it decoration here. Let's put it upside down. There we go. Wait a second. Can I go up through this? No, actually I can't. Huh. Why didn't you know that? Okay, so that means that I'm going to have to change this up. Which is not really that big of a deal. Anyway, so I guess I should talk about something other than, just straight up what I'm building. Which I guess is probably fair if you're a little confused. I'm never good for well. Okay, if I put it there, I guess that means I should probably put this like here, go here. The entryway would definitely be reworked for this. Like that is kind of like point number, like that would be And remember, this is just the first layer of fortifications anyway. But, you know, things are, you know, life is one of those things that it's just like, well, is there really anything super insane about it? So this would probably be one of the first little, we're going to build up this earthenworks a little bit. You know, life is life. We're actually grabbing the iron doors. There's a good reason why. Nope. Putting them on the other side. And that doesn't help. Okay. Whatever. Something I have to deal with. And now this basic part is fortified. It's actually, you know, locked, so if they did this, the only way you're getting through is you're burning it down. Probably something else that would be done is, you know, they're going to probably build up some basic true fortifications around this hill. To make sure that the hill is basically, yeah. I mean, other than this tree being in the way. There we go. So let's just go through and pick up, you know, this and this, and I want to get rid of this. Get rid of those. No one needs saplings. And I'm trying to debate how I want to do this. Because it's pretty tough to assault it from there, but you would probably... we'll leave it. I'll leave it for now. But one of the things I'm going to do is we're going to put a tower. Tower is going to have a base. Of cobblestone. There we go. And the base of cobblestone is, of course, to support the weight of, you know, our pillar, our wooden, you know, base supports. Really? Really? There we go. What? Apparently I can't. It just looks weird to me because nothing had been filled in. It just looked weird because of that fact. Or because I just can't count. Get rid of those, get rid of that. There we go. I'm debating how high I want to take this, but I guess here would be good. Actually, I guess just one more is more than enough, I guess. And we'll use the same log type. Also, don't ask me why I'm punching these out like this. I just feel like punching them out like this. So I'm going to need to carry them up one more. I guess that'll support it up to here. And notice how I'm building all of this out of wood. It's because that would probably be the very first thing this stuff would be built out of, is wood. Probably use timber paneling on the outside of this. And this would be for, you know, the soldiers who would be coming from the town in order to protect these folk, the lords, who would, like I said, they would pay them, stuff like that, you know. Okay, put that there. Wait, why am I not using spruce? Because I use spruce for the walls there. It's probably... I mean, I know it doesn't truly matter, but I guess in a way it kind of truly does. Also, I should probably get a trapdoor. Oh, wait, I already have a trapdoor. Huh. How? Why? Whatever. So, you know, of all the things that are going on in my life, you know, not all of them are terrible. You know, my classes are doing well. There's one that's being a pain in the rear end. That's business calculus, because reasons, I guess. The truth is, I don't actually know why calculus is being a pain for me. Okay, whatever. I'll put it like that. That way it's, you know, something you can walk on. And back to the ladder. Now that I think about it, those would go there. Means if I put that there, I can actually put the trapdoor there. Yeah, that actually works. Sad, I really like the spruce. I could almost turn this into, you know, more Japanese style if I really wanted to. Okay, close that. There we go. There we go. There we go. Do that. And I'm putting these up for a reason. Because this is kind of the tower, I guess. Oh, I didn't know this was a tower. You should have told us, Ben. We would have been able to design one really nice for you. Sorry, I'm being cynical right now. Which apparently is a strength, which is one of my better writing styles. I'm very good at being a cynical person, if that makes any sense. And apparently I don't have a door. Oh, hi, puppy. That actually makes it really nice. Okay. And let's put this here. Put this here. Okay. Oh, so that's the first one. And of course this is... Okay. Actually, this isn't terrible in terms of what I have to work with. If you think of this as kind of the last little... Oops. Gap, we can do it like this. And there's actually a reason why I do them like this, is because it's at least visually appealing. Also, lol. And of course I'm a genius. Okay, cover that up. And I'm even more of a genius because of that. So, anyway. Let's get rid of those. Get rid of that. So, anyway, apparently Formula One is going to be starting up again. Which is kind of nice. Dude, F1 is awesome. Which is really good because well, besides the fact that I actually like F1. Okay. Okay. That actually works really nicely. Okay. But no, like I said, I enjoy F1 because I like racing. Simple as that. Okay, so these are 2, 3, yep. So put that at the floor height. This will get a trap door. There we go. No. Should probably go up in that direction. There we go. Then I'm debating. Actually, okay, so if we put it like this. And we put them like this. Okay, and then like this, like this, and like that. We'll have these be at least somewhat useful. Okay, and then we have a little tower. So we have successfully added defenses to the Jarl's house. Though I guess that doesn't look very it doesn't actually look that European. Like, it almost looks, I don't want to say Japanese, but it kind of does. To be very honest with you, it looks very Japanese, especially with the stone base to the tower. This looks very, very Eastern, and I mean, this isn't fooling anyone, to be quite honest with you. So I guess we could call him a daimyo. Both are the lords, but, you know. From a distance, let's see what it looks like from on top of the church tower. Or from the street. That looks really nice. That actually looks incredibly nice. But yeah, so F1 is, you know, a thing. And yeah, I'm thrilled to see for the new season. I really can't wait. Does this river loop around? Because if so, this would be where to put. Okay, I think the river does loop around. Maybe. It's definitely an ocean. Okay, so the river doesn't loop around, but immediately there is an ocean. Or just a big, deep, open lake. I'm just looking here because I like looking at landscapes. Oh no, this is just a big, giant lake. Maybe. And there's another village. That's actually a bit of a surprise. This one is actually by an actual ocean, I think. Yeah, I think this one is an actual ocean. Man, yeah, that's an actual ocean. Yeah, okay. I'm just curious about this village because that's cool that there is another village. This is a smaller one, but this one would probably be very good because it's next to, a area that this could be a port. This really could be a very prosperous village. Though, as you can see, there's no blacksmith, which is where they keep all their stuff, but why did I call it a butcher? Whatever. Point is that I may build like a travel road to that village. And I'll make it a little bit bigger, and I'll put like boats and stuff in the harbor and stuff like that, because it'll be like a trading village, right? Also, I will be cleaning stuff like the floating islands up, because that's one of those things that really, really annoys me. Which direction? It was this way, was it? I think. Okay, there's a... wow, did I just get lost? Yeah, because that forest wasn't there. Yeah, so good job, Ben. You got lost. Whoops. Game mode 0. And this should kill me. There we go. See, whenever you need to, game mode 1. There we go. I just have to remember which direction. No, that's not the... There's another one? Huh. Well, this is a small one by a swamp. Oh. This might be very useful. Okay. Well, I can definitely create some stories with this. Okay. That's not that far from this one. Is that a ravine? Well, huh. Yeah, find something new out every single day. Also, I really am liking the additions we've made so far. You know, this is actually turning into what looks like a really nice village. You know, you got your church, which we're going to be renovating the church, believe me. Believe it. Smith, of course. You know, the merchant's house, which I guess I should put these up here. I mean, we haven't added a tremendous amount. There we go. I think it needs that just to at least make it look, you know. There we go. And actually, there we go. And I guess I'll put these there. That way, it looks at least, yeah, it looks a little bit better. I mean, you won't be noticing it that. You know, this is the only part I'm not a big fan of, but, you know, you gotta have your stairwell somewhere. But, you know, it looks nice. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, you know, help the channel grow if you enjoy the content, and I'll see you next time. Hello guys, Ben here, and welcome back to another episode of the evolution of a village. So what we're going to do today is we're actually going to renovate one of these buildings. And the building that I've decided we're going to renovate first is the church. So we're going to need this. I need to get our spruce. This. Actually, didn't use any spruce slabs. Okay. And we're going to need to grab this. Oops. This. We'll go ahead. I should grab some. We're going to use this glass because this hasn't been texture packed yet. And I'm going to be looking for some texture packs to update this stuff. And we're also going to need this. And do we have cobble stairs yet? Here we go. I'm not sure if we're going to need cobble slabs. Let's grab that. Oh. Hey, it looks like I'm going to need torches. I'm going to need ladders. Okay, villagers, you may want to leave. He's mad because I'm tearing down the church. Which is honestly not the worst reaction to have to somebody tearing down your place of worship. Also, that's actually something that, we need to consider is what faith would these people have? It's obviously fertile enough. It's obviously a pretty fertile land. So, what type of faith would these people have? Would they, worship some sort of, like, for example, in Mesopotamian, their god is, a lot of the gods that originated in a lot of the mythos of, places in the Eastern Mediterranean, place like that, they grew kind of, around merciful gods. I'm going to go ahead and grab that. I'm going to put that there for now. And, places that had, harsher areas, their gods were, harsher. So, the gods of an area kind of reflect the, at least this is, considering my very limited knowledge of religion. Okay. I'm going to put that street there. And the first floor is probably going to be the foundation. I think we need to put the atrium here. And when I say an atrium, I'm talking the main part. So this is going to be 5 by 5. So we're already at 4. So here we go. Okay, so then I'll go ahead and kick it out by 2. Yeah, I think 2 is good enough. And then, how large should it be? Okay, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Let's put it at 13. There we go. And since it had a tower, we're actually going to put 2 towers here. So, let's put /time set day. Next episode, I think I'm going to renovate one of the butcher's houses. Or, not the butcher, I'm going to renovate the blacksmith. I don't know why I've been calling it a butcher. Now this is just the floor of the... Yeah. Okay, so... put those there. I guess the atrium, the foyer... Actually, I really like this. Doing it like this. Okay. There we go. Obviously, these would be there. Now, the entryway doesn't need to be too, fancy. I'm debating if there should be a tower on this. Though, I guess there should be something. Like a residence for the priest. Now this one's going to be a little bit longer, I think. Just because we are, we're renovating something. We're going through the planning. We're, thinking about what type of religion they would have. Thinking. So. take out this. It's 3, 4, 5. Okay, if we put it like this, okay, and this actually makes it a square of an odd number. There we go. And I'll go ahead and put this like this because I guess that's probably the smart thing to do. There we go. There we go. Okay, let's kick this up 1. So this is kind of going to be where the priest lives, is in this back area. It's a little tough to figure out how exactly this is logistically going to work, because this is pretty big, honestly. Okay, for now let's just focus on this part. Okay. So each of these is going to have this, at least in this part. Actually want to get rid of this hill for hill. I will definitely be cleaning this up because good gravy doesn't need cleaning up. Like, it was just random, very weird. Yeah, that's so much better. Matter of fact, I could clean it up, like, right now. There we go. Okay. Leave it. And then these will go here. Okay, I did that correct. Ha! Fooling myself if I don't believe it. Yeah, I'm kidding myself if I don't believe it. A little bit of sticks there. Okay. And I guess I should replace the dirt here with that. There we go. I guess I'll put these up here. Let me get the door. So yeah, as far as things are going in my life, I mean, you know, like I said last episode, things are good. Don't know about too many updates. I'm going to be trying to keep these episodes coming out at a healthy pace, because that would be a good idea. Also, you know, why shouldn't I do that? Okay, there we go. Okay. I'm just going to be doing this so I know what level I need to be putting all this stuff at. There we go. Get rid of that. You know, it's actually looking really nice. I'm liking using spruce better. I know oak is more common in this biome, but, you know, is what it is, or not is what it is. Ha! I use that phrase a lot, don't I? Get away, sheep. I probably, you know, have something to do with shepherding. Man, I was about to quote Pulp Fiction there. Say what again? But yeah, so one of the things that's been going on, and this will probably reach it a few days after, is there's a little Survivor thing going on in the NFL subreddit. For those of you who don't know, Survivor is a reality show, and from what I've read, it actually is all real. And when I say that, you know, reality shows kind of have the reputation where they set things up so that they can get drama. Apparently, Survivor, it's all real, which is kind of nice. The only reason why it can feel scripted at times is because people are given specific instructions that they are to, you know, do their strategizing and stuff while the cameras are rolling on them, which I guess is fair in some ways. Because, you know, they want to be able to capture some moments. And, you know, if they don't actually catch somebody finding the idol, they ask that person to recreate it, stuff like that. But, you know, most of the time it's very... it is real. But going on to the NFL one, version of it, unfortunately we aren't able to, or unfortunately, not we, because I'm not running it, but, you know, the person who is running it can't do, like, challenges and whatnot to, you know, grant immunity, but we're doing the voting out part, which is pretty cool, in some ways. And when I say in some ways, it's cool in many, many, many ways. Okay, I need to choose a wall here that it is going to... This wall, I think... okay. This is actually going to be where we're going to put an actual fireplace. I think an actual fireplace instead of an oven here would be awesome. And we're going to use bricks for that because I think bricks are a criminally underused block. And yeah. So anyway, the NFL subreddit has been, you know, voting people or voting teams off of the island. And when I say voting teams off of the island, I'm talking about, like, what we're doing is, you know, actually like Survivor. You know, you vote off a team, or, you know, you hold a vote, and the team with the most votes gets kicked off the island. However, it isn't going the way most people anticipated it, at least at the time. Well, definitely, even after the time of recording. I'm actually going to go ahead and light this candle. I just thought of the TV show Archer. And I'm going to see if it... okay. So there we go. And when I say it isn't going the way most people anticipated it going, I'm talking about, most people anticipated, the Patriots to get eliminated first because, most hated team. When you want to kick somebody off, you want to kick the largest fan bases off first, right? I mean, it's, the move that makes the absolute most sense. So you obviously don't want a team that has, I think the most recent statistic is that 9.2% of subscribers on the NFL subreddit are Patriots fans. So, you don't want the team with the most, users, the largest fan base on the subreddit, to control the game. However, ironically, that's exactly what's happening, is they're, avoiding elimination each and every time using a very interesting strategy. Now, the baseball subreddit is doing it, and on the baseball subreddit, team subreddits are, and of course the teams, you are not allowed to, forge alliances, which I think is ridiculous because the whole point of the game of Survivor is to, forge alliances to keep yourself alive in the game. And yet, the baseball subreddit, they're like, nah, or the guy running it there is like, alliances? Come on, that's not fair to people. We want to see what the most hated team is. But if you want to know what the most hated team is, don't call it Survivor. But because the whole point of the game is, to be the last one standing, to outwit, outlast, outplay. And, the NFL subreddit is doing just that. They are making a very good case. One commenter is like, at this point, my team's already been eliminated, but, I want the Patriots to win just because they are playing the perfect game of Survivor right now. And, what that means is that they, they think that, the Patriots are definitely, they're playing the game correctly. Okay, we're going to raise these up like this, and we're already at 22 minutes. This episode, like I said, it's going to be a little bit longer, but that's more than okay because of the scale of building that we are building. Like, this is going to be the biggest building in the series by far. Also, I'm really glad that works. I'm tempted to turn fire spread off, but, I may light a fire just to show you that how fire affects a town like this. Should probably also bring these up. Okay, and I guess I'll bring these up too. I'm debating how I want to do this. This would probably be where the clergy would be, because, it wouldn't just be one priest, there'd probably be a few monks here and stuff like that, depending on, or temple prostitutes, because those are apparently things in this universe. We'll go ahead and say that this religion, there's such a thing as temple prostitutes. Why Wow, that's, I didn't realize how funny that would actually be to say. No, we'll put it up here. We're gonna extend this out 1. But, you know, things are... And I'm probably going to put the light on this little shelf here. Or not. I don't know. Honestly, I don't. Actually, I probably will put the lighting on that shelf. I think it fits. It'll fit there. Go. And one of the reasons why I'm not using as much light as maybe I normally would, like if this were a survival build, is just because. Anyway, back to the NFL Survivor thing. You know, teams, I don't want to say teams, but, you know, people are actually getting legitimately upset. Okay. So this would be the floor to the... This level will be the floor to the next one, so we want to put that there. But people are actually getting legitimately upset that the Patriots and, you know, their cohorts, I'll get to that part in a minute, are playing the game to win. Like, they're saying it's boring because they completely are dominating the game. And I can see how it would be, you know, not interesting from the perspective of, say, you know, I can see how it wouldn't be interesting from the perspective of, you know, a fan of one of these teams that's losing. I mean, it's understandable. You know, you don't have fun when you're losing. It's not fun to lose. I completely understand and I respect that. However, you can't say it's not interesting, because this is far more entertaining than baseball. And I'm not just saying that as, you know, a Patriots fan who is, you know, obviously biased. Debating. Well, I'm going to have to raise this up one more. There we go. We're going to put that there. Put that there. Put that there. 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 Going over. There. I'll worry about the transitions later. I just want to build this all in one episode, so a little bit long of a treat, but whatever. And the whole, you know, so one of the first things, the game was announced the day before it actually started. So immediately people should have been like, okay, so there may be a chance for alliances to form, as is the nature of things like this, right? Alliances will form, you know, the second you let people know about them. You'll see why I'm putting these like this. I'm actually, I'll do it like this. I think this will probably be for the best. Though I'm not positive on that. I'm also tempted to get world edit at some point, because it'll probably make this whole construction thing a bit easier. Also, I'm going to be building that like that. Oh, I'm actually really happy that I am thoroughly thrilled. Go. Gives me a little bit more space, but it also adds some visual interest. See? Adds a little bit of visual interest. And don't worry, I will definitely be, building an actual cathedral at some point. Anyway, so back to the game. So, like I said, game was announced, before it was played, I guess is the best word to describe it. Also, should I put the roof of this higher? Yeah, I think putting the roof of this higher really will make it look better. I'm also, I don't need to add support pillars, I guess. God dang it. There we go. So, alliances could be formed in that day before. Well, it turned out, there were a few pre-existing, we'll call them alliances for now, but most of them were just based off common threads between teams. The most active of these pre-existing alliances, and I'm using active in the strictest, I'm using it as a relative term, it was the subreddit called the Evil League of Evil. To say that they are the good guys is stretching it. To say that these guys are evil would be okay, maybe not. Let me put it this way. The Evil League of Evil is playing evil. It's fun for the group to pretend they're, evil. But, and the Evil League of Evil is a group of 7 teams that are a combination of both the most successful and the most hated franchises and fan bases in the NFL. So there's, of course, the Patriots, the Steelers, the Cowboys, the Packers, the Giants. There's also the 49ers and Bears. Okay, so it's Patriots, Steelers, Cowboys, Packers, Giants, Niners, Bears, yeah. And before anybody asks me, lol, the Bears, how are they in the Evil League of Evil? I thought it was about success. Well, it's both about success and also reputation. The Bears are, they're the OG evil. When I say that, I'm not kidding. They, at one point, literally got the Packers kicked out of the league just for the sake of signing a player the Packers liked. And then they managed to get them reinstated, of course, because evil recognizes evil. And there's, of course, the instance where... I don't want these to go high. I'll just kick these up 2 more. I think that's more than enough for what I want to do with this section, or this upper floor. I think giving it the vaulted ceiling. There we go. And actually, this is going to need to be... No. Oops. Haha. Goes there. That goes there. Dang. Anyway, so the Evil League of Evil and the pack and yeah, so for anybody wondering why the Bears are in the Evil League of Evil, that is why. Also, the Bears may or may not have literally, and I mean literally, stolen a championship. Then so, if we're talking about, that, so they realized that, at least for, some of the bigger ones, the Steelers, Patriots, Packers, Cowboys, and, we'll include the Giants in this, because, you kind of have to include them in this, because these teams are, like I said, they're the most hated teams in the NFL. So, when one goes, yeah, they're probably all going to go. Patriots were essentially in the original thread. They were consensus day one eliminations. Okay, so it would make sense for the Patriots to reach out. But here's the thing. Who goes next after them? Like, which team are you going to, which team gets voted out after the Patriots? Okay, well, it's either the Steelers or the Cowboys. The Steelers, because most rings, and also, as much as, their fan base can get pretty annoying with the whole Sixburg or whatever they want to call it. Let's be nice and say that maybe they're not the most liked fan base out there. The Cowboys are also in close contention because, well, they have... If anybody knows anything about NFC East rivalries, the NFC East is basically hate stewed in hate, stewed in hate, with a little bit of hate as a garnish, all served on a piping hot bed of hate. I know people who are fans of NFC East teams. If you said... Like, if you said, okay, you've got a gun with, we'll say, I'm trying to think of the best way to explain it, but none of them like each other. So the Cowboys and Giants would probably be gone very quickly. Cowboys would probably go first out of that group. The Giants would probably be next. Though there is a chance that it would be the Eagles. But who knows? It would probably be the Giants. And I'm saying this is somebody who really freaking hates the Giants. You know, the Packers would probably... Packers and Bears, though the Bears less so because they kind of suck right now. And when I say they kind of suck, I really mean they suck. You know, the Packers would probably be gone next because everybody in that division hates the Packers. For good reason, too. The Packers have dominated that division for... since the mid-90s, really. When they got Brett Favre and Reggie White and all that. So it makes sense for these teams to band together like that. Heck, and the smaller ones, I mean, sure, they'd stand decent, or the teams that kind of are not doing so hot, like the Niners and Bears, you know, even though they'd stand a passable chance at survival, if they didn't go with this guarantees them top 7. So it also makes sense from their perspective to go with this plan, this evil league of evil, right? The other groups are much less, not only much less organized, but also not don't inspire as much loyalty, because a lot of reasons, actually. Like the ungulate teams, the bird teams. The bird teams actually kind of a bit, though we won't really talk about them because fuck bird teams. Then there's the whole... Then there's the... So on day 1, you know, the Evil League of Evil, they realized not only do we have to band together, but we also have to all agree on a team to vote out. And that's where the genius of this strategy lies. It's not just the idea that they are banding together to protect themselves. Part of that means they all have to vote for the same target. So, you know, it's a little bit hard to get at it because the Giants and Cowboys are in the same division. The Bears and Packers are in the same division. So, you know, there's not a lot of precedence for them to not immediately try and, you know, kill each other. Matter of fact, most probably want to immediately kill each other. Tempted to put a loft in this thing. I think that'd be interesting, is to put a loft here. Who knows? So the first day's target for this, for the Evil League of Evil, was the Seahawks. Which, you know, the Seahawks were going to get a little bit of casual hate as well. The Patriots definitely would get the most, but they would but the idea was the Evil League of Evil would band together and vote the Seahawks out, and it worked. The Seahawks got voted off. Now, of course, the idea, even though teams that are kicked off, because it's kind of hard to prevent a team from, you know, fans from voting if their team gets kicked out. Like, you know, eliminated fan bases can still vote, right? However, a lot of apathy sets in, and it's becoming a trend for mods of those individual team subreddits to ban posts from, you know, ban posts about the game once the team is eliminated, as it's, you know, no longer really relevant. Wow, this is actually going to be incredibly high. Probably... No, I can't put it there. I could like this and support it like that. Yeah, because this kind of, these are monks and sisters and most, these are sleeping quarters, whatever, who cares. Time, set, day. And, what they'd be doing is teams would get apathetic once they got voted out. So the Evil League of Evil, not only were they targeting, teams that would get casual hate, but they also were targeting teams that would get, teams that have large fan bases, large and active fan bases, because those teams pose a threat. Because once those teams, become apathetic towards, the game, they're no longer really a threat. So, a team becomes a threat. Yep. And of course, when a team is no longer a threat, you don't really need to worry about their numbers. I mean, some diehards will continue to vote, but, most will just, they'll stop ignoring it, or they'll ignore it, stuff like that, right? Anyway, so, Seahawks got voted out day one, which, I think a lot of people were surprised about it, but it's not too far of a stretch of the imagination, right? So the next day's target had to be decided on quickly, right? Now this was, and also part of this is also to secure alliances. Teams would need to, so voting out the Seahawks really secured this 49ers support. So the next group need to, appease the one pair of divisional rivals in the Falcons, or not in the Falcons, in the Cowboys and Eagles, or Cowboys and Giants fan base, and the Eagles were the target to appease both of those groups, else they would probably try and vote each other off. So the Eagles were the target for day two. And, this was also this was the closest day of voting so far. And the Eagles were eliminated, though there's a little bit of controversy because both sides are suspected of using bots for this poll. Though the only confirmed botting was actually done by an Eagles fan. Though, like I said, both sides were suspected of it, though a lot of the evidence now, after, anti-botting measures were put in place, shows that really it was more than likely the Eagles were the only ones botting. So, irony is not lost on the situation. But chances are both sides were doing it, or only the Eagles were doing it. So anyway, the Eagles were voted out. And the second most vote getter for each and every single day has been the Patriots. So, this actually looks incredible. Wow. I'm actually really, really, really impressed with this so far. Wow, going to this little we'll go to this perch. Wow, that is actually, see, so much better than the vanilla church. I'm gonna actually just, oopsies, haha. Go. There we go. Yeah. Okay. This is, wow. Oh, actually, I should probably just... There we go. I'm not sure how high I want to take this part of it. I guess maybe have a ladder is kind of like to get up to a bell tower / special prayer room. Oh, that would actually work really nice. So, I'm going to design this chimney to be a little bit special and vent the fumes a certain way. There we go. Yeah. That looks nice. There we go. So like I said, team got voted out. The Eagles got voted out. Yeah. Day 2. Man, I bet you a lot of people were upset about that, but and also if you're into, salt mining on social media sites or just into drama in general, this place is brilliant. This game is literally perfect for it. Like, you couldn't find anything better for drama. I guess we'll leave it at this height. I don't think it's... I guess we're going to have to make it so that it at least looks the part of a place of worship, so... There we go. Oopsies. How did that one not get? Whatever. So, the next team that gets selected out to be eliminated, to be voted off the island, were the Atlanta Falcons. And also there's been somebody who's been, making humorous tribal council videos for all of these. These are funny as all get out. but, you know, Falcons get eliminated, and as, you know, everybody, as at least, you know, was intended by the Evil League of Evil. And, you know, people were starting to get really upset at this point, because they're like, oh my god, will you guys, will you evil guy, will the Evil League of Evil stop ruining the game? Because what they expected was teams to be voting off of hate, not voting to, you know, stay alive. Not essentially, they were expecting teams to, you know, vote based off of whatever. Basically, not vote in their interest, but instead vote for, you know, their divisional rival or whatever, instead of doing the logical thing and you know, playing the game, basically. And they think that's ruining the game somehow, which I think is a little short-sighted. I also think it's a little, you know, you're only complaining because it's not going the way you anticipated, and also you're only complaining because you're losing. So, you know, I have zero sympathy for them because of that. Simultaneously, I also get it. Like, I get why they're upset. It's not going the way they anticipated, and, you know, they didn't realize that, you know, there'd be people who were trying to win the game instead of, you know, play this petty bullcrap. They're trying to, you know, play the name of the game, which is, of course, Survivor. The goal is to survive as long as possible. So when a team, you know, tries to do that, you know, they're like, wait, what? I thought this was about who we hated the most. And, you know, it's not. So anyway, Falcons go out, right? The next day, the Evil League of Evil decides they want to secure an alliance because it looks like Resistance is actually starting to at least somewhat coalesce. I say somewhat, they're coalescing. They were coalescing not very well, but, you know, combined with enough people who decided it was strategically best to vote against the Patriots, to try and vote them off, but also the casual voters who would just vote for them because, you know, Patriots have been dominating everything. Why let them win a stupid internet poll, right? Well, they, the Evil League of Evil decided, you know what, let's go ahead and recruit the Houston Texans to our alliance. There we go. That looks nice. Anyway, long story short, it's turning into a very interesting game. It's proving political science theory of, I believe it's Duvalier law, which is, so I should probably, no, it shouldn't be this one, it should be the front one. It should be this one. Okay. 3, 4. I'm just creating something random and weird. Yeah, that looks nice. I mean, it's a little tall, but it works, I think. Long story short, it's incredibly hilarious. And we finished our church. I'll put, pews and stuff inside of it. I'll furnish it. I'll showcase that before I refix the the blacksmith. Man, I've called it a butcher shop and a bakery when it's a blacksmith. Yeah. I'm a genius. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching and sticking around for the whole thing. Talk to you guys next time. Bye.